Welcome back to the Agatha May Detective Agency, or welcome to if this is your first time. Today we're going to be looking at Robert Troy Taylor. He hasn't been mentioned a lot regarding Mica's death, but he's a business associate, a friend, and possibly a roommate of Wayne Miller, so he is definitely in the circle of shame. Robert uses the name Troy, among other names, and was born in November of 1969. I've given him the nickname Troy, look at my goatee, Taylor, because, well, sometimes I have the maturity of a fifth grader. So before I start in with his story, I need to warn you, it's complex, it's convoluted, it's confusing. I tried to simplify it as much as I can, so just please bear with me. We're going to start Troy's story in 2003. Troy was a youth pastor at Low Country Community Church in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. Now, Murrells Inlet is a small, unincorporated area about 13 miles south of Myrtle Beach. Troy was arrested in 2003 and 2005 for lewd acts on male minors. In 2006, he pleaded guilty to all those charges and received an 8-year sentence with 3 years suspended. The Associated Press published the following about his crime. Quote, a former Murrells Inlet minister was ordered Thursday to serve 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to 3 S-crime charges. Troy Taylor, 36, was sentenced to 8 years in prison, which the judge suspended to 5 years. He must serve 85% of his sentence. Troy will also have 3 years of probation after his release and must register as an S offender. The former youth minister at Low Country Community Church pleaded guilty to 2 counts of committing lewd acts on a minor and 1 count of second-degree criminal S conduct. Taylor was charged with molesting a 12-year-old boys in his home in 1991 and 1988. He was also charged for an incident that occurred in 1999. 2 of the victims were Taylor's cousins. Troy was also arrested for criminal S conduct and kidnapping of a male minor in Williamsburg County, South Carolina. In 2007, he was found guilty by jury trial and received life without parole. In 2014, Troy filed for post-conviction relief in the Williamsburg County case. There was an evidentiary hearing in 2015, and that ended with the judge determining that Troy's conviction should be vacated due to ineffective counsel. Way to go, attorneys. The Williamsburg County prosecuting attorney stated at the time that he would retry Troy, but Troy was released on $50,000 bond, and now the case has been taken from the court records, so it looks like there is not going to be a retrial. Troy Taylor was released from prison in 2019 and is still on the S offenders registry due to his charge in Georgetown County. But there's a funny thing about his registry. On the address of his registry information, it's for 1606 Plaza Place in Myrtle Beach. But that address is not for a house. It's a business. It's Grand Strand Power Equipment. The registered agent for Grand Strand Power Equipment is a D. Shaw Williams. Now, don't registered sex offenders have to use their home address so the neighbors will know, like, which neighbor the children should avoid? I have huge doubts that Troy is actually living at Grand Strand Power Equipment. So does this mean he's lying on his registry? While in prison, Troy met a fellow prisoner named Robert Lee Mullins. Before he and Troy met, Robert Lee had been in pretrial detention with another man named Richard Gagnon. Richard was charged with murdering his girlfriend's parents. Allegedly, Richard told Robert Lee that he had indeed killed them. Robert Lee then testified at Richard's trial, and Richard was found guilty and sentenced to life without parole. However, when Robert Lee and Troy met, Robert Lee told Troy he lied on the stand. That's according to Troy. 4 years after his sentencing, Richard met Troy. The story from Troy is that one day he and Richard were playing cards, and Richard told Troy that Robert Lee's testimony helped put him in prison. Troy made the connection between Robert Lee and Richard, and then told Richard that Robert Lee admitted to him that he'd lied. So Richard was able to get a retrial, and Troy testified about Robert Lee telling him he lied in court. The conclusion was that Richard was exonerated and released from prison. Here's what bothers me about this story. From what I've read, Troy did not immediately let anyone know that Robert Lee Mullins told him he'd lied on the stand. If you had information that could possibly exonerate someone, especially someone who had been given a life sentence, why wouldn't you let anyone know? Once again, I am left wondering about Troy's veracity. Richard Gagnon and Troy were friends on Facebook in 2023, but I can't verify that they still are. Richard also has a connection with a Pakistani associate of Wayne Miller, so there's a connection. Even if it's a post-prison connection, they're all in the same circle. What has Troy, look at my goatee, Taylor been doing for work after getting out of prison? Well, he has a current LLC and a few defunct ones. On 6/14 of 2019, articles of organization for Samar Group LLC were filed. This is also shown as Troy's business on his Facebook page and is registered to an address associated with him. Samar Group is registered under Marius Troy Taylor. Marius is a relative of Troy, and based on his age, I'm guessing it's his son. I tried to find out exactly what Samar Group LLC in Conway, South Carolina does, and I haven't found a single thing. It sounds like it could be something in connections with his trip to Pakistan, but that's just a guess. In 2021, Troy filed articles of organization for Taylor's Homemade LLC, which was an ice cream truck. In March of 2022, there was an agent name change to Elena Mirella Dutois. She's also the registered agent for Quick South LLC, which started in March of 2022 and was terminated in November of the same year. Taylor's Homemade was terminated as an LLC in September of 2022. Mirella is a Facebook friend with Troy and his mother, and it seems she's been a family friend for at least several years. In April of 2022, Troy filed articles of organization for Pit to Sea LLC and canceled it 2 weeks later. I don't know what the deal is with the temporary LLCs. It costs $110 to start one in South Carolina. So why would someone spend that for 2 weeks or even 8 months? Like, I don't get what the deal is. In the summer of 2021, Troy received a business license for his ice cream truck, and that same summer he rented a spot in the parking lot of a Myrtle Beach business. A neighbor of the owner of that business warned him that he needed to look up the owner of the ice cream truck. The business owner found out that Troy was on the S registry and was not happy about the news. He was so not happy, he brought his complaint to the Horry County Council meeting, and that led to a new ordinance being voted on to decide restrictions on where registered S offenders could work. By the first part of 2022, it had cleared one of the 3 votes needed to make it a law. MyOrieNews.com ran an article on April 2nd, 2022 about the ordinance. In the article, Troy was quoted as saying, "I want to be very clear," he said. "I followed every single thing to the hilt. Went all the way up to the state. There's no law. We haven't broken any laws, done anything wrong at all. By no means. I never led anybody astray, nor said anything that was out of the way, and sure didn't mean to offend anyone whatsoever. I'm just literally trying to put my life back together." Troy kind of sounds like, "I didn't do nothing wrong. See? I'm innocent, I tell ya. You'll never catch me, coppers." If Troy wasn't trying to hide anything, why did he change the registered agent name on Taylor's Homemade in March of 2022? It really looks like Troy might have been trying to hide who owned the business. He also stated in the article that he didn't exclusively serve children, but the business owner who brought this before the council stated that Troy's truck was covered with children's logos. Before Taylor spoke with MyOrieNews.com, the business had a Facebook page that showed the truck at various stops, including Savannah's Playground in Myrtle Beach. The paper stated the page had been removed. However, I searched Facebook for Taylor Homemade, and Troy had tagged it in a post. When you click on it now, it goes to Southern Scoops and Treats, which is, guess, an ice cream truck out of Myrtle Beach. Huh. What a coincidence. On July 19th, 2022, MyOrioNews.com published an article about a state law that was enacted on May 23rd of the same year. Quote, the new state law, which the governor signed on May 23rd, defines as a child-oriented business as any business whose primary service includes the education, care, or entertainment of children, including, but not limited to, a school, daycare center, children's recreational facility, arcade, trampoline park, amusement park, public playground, or mobile food delivery, whose primary business is the sale or delivery of ice cream or candy to children, end quote. This law was enacted as a direct answer to the Horry County ordinance regarding Troy Taylor. Legislators felt that an offender operating an ice cream truck could just travel to other counties if the law was only for one county, so they made it for the entire state. So Troy's at least done one good thing, even if it was inadvertently. After finding out that Taylor's Homemade was now Southern Scoops and Treats, I decided to see what was up about the new ice cream truck. The registered agent for Southern Scoops and Treats is Timothy M. Lee, and it was incorporated on May 24th of 2022. However, on August 23rd, 2022, a woman named Angela made a post thanking Uncle Anthony Robert Perez for taking the ice cream truck to Chapin Park to sell ice cream in honor of Courtney Perez. Courtney seems to be a relative of Troy's that passed away in 2021. There is also a post on the Southern Scoops and Treats Facebook page about this same event. If you're wondering who the heck Anthony Robert Perez is, it's an alias used by Troy Taylor, and we'll get to that in a minute. These photos of Troy in and in front of Southern Scoops ice cream truck are further proof that he is at least marginally involved with Southern Scoops. Southern Scoops and Treats is also doing business in the parking lot of Savannah's Playground, just like Troy did when the ice cream truck was called Taylor's Homemade. So, is Troy still running the ice cream truck? Does he have it in other people's names to circumvent the registry regulations? So, if any of you are local and you see this ice cream truck, could you go take pictures of the workers and give them to me, and I will make sure if it's him that it is plastered all over the internet, and I will let the proper authorities know. Like Charles, I don't beat my wife Randall, Troy has trouble following traffic laws. In fact, he's tied with Charles with 19 violations. Once again, another person in JP's circle who think traffic laws don't apply to them. I've not been able to figure out how Troy and Wayne Miller met. The earliest I can find them connected is in 2022. So Troy travels with Wayne Miller on mission trips to Pakistan, except the Pakistanis know him as Anthony Robert Perez. I hope Troy isn't using a fake passport to get into Pakistan, because I'm pretty sure that's not legal. These photos were taken from a Facebook post that identified Troy as Anthony Robert Perez. I figured out that his alias was taken from his father's name, which was Anthony, and from his parental grandfather's surname, which was Perez. I'm not sure how the surname Taylor came into being. Also, Troy isn't really very good at aliases. Speaking of Pakistan, here's a photo of Troy on a mission trip there. This is so disturbing on so many levels, but mostly on the level of what the hell? Why is he around young boys? Along with going on trips to Pakistan with Wayne Miller, Troy is also now traveling the South singing about the Lord. Why, hallelujah! According to his Anthony Robert Perez Facebook page, Troy is a member of the Garden City Quartet. However, when you go to the quartet's website, Anthony is back to being Troy Taylor. This man is exhausting. There are rumors that Troy sponsored a woman from Pakistan so she and her brother could come to the United States. There is also a rumor that the brother is Wayne Miller's boyfriend, and that the four of them are sharing a house in Conway, South Carolina. The siblings are Solomon and Sadaf Yusas, and they are definitely in the United States now. Here's a photo of them at John Paul Miller's church, Solid Rock, on March 24th of this year. There was also a photo of them at the airport when they first arrived at the U.S. with Troy and Wayne, but unfortunately, it was taken down before I had a chance to snag it. It disappeared after the rumors of Troy sponsoring Sadaf were circulating. So, not suspicious at all. Members of Abundant Life Christian Assembly, which is a church group that worked with Wayne Miller in Lahore, Pakistan, have made a video stating they do not want Wayne Miller to come back to Pakistan. In fact, they made the first video like 9 months ago, and then after they learned of the death of Mica, they put it out again and made sure that people knew. There are allegations that he used the missions money on his boyfriend and did not use any of the money on the church that he was supposed to be helping. Troy Taylor probably isn't welcomed either. The more I dig into this case, the more I think there is something really, really big going on behind the scenes, and it's not good. In May of 2023, Troy made a Facebook post of 2 Timothy 3:1-5, and he used the Message version. Don't be naive. There are difficult times ahead. As the end approaches, people are going to be self-absorbed, money-hungry, self-promoting, stuck-up, profane, contemptuous of parents, crude, coarse, dog-eat-dog, unbending, slanderers, impulsively wild, savage, cynical, treacherous, ruthless, bloated windbags, addicted to lust and allergic to God. They'll make a show of religion, but behind the scenes, they're animals. Stay clear of those people. Out of the former minister's mouth, friends. To my knowledge, Troy Taylor has not been named as a person of interest in any ongoing investigation. He is innocent until proven guilty. My next video will be about the great evangelist who never was, Reginald Wayne Miller. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment, as this will help more people see my videos. Until next time, stay safe and be happy.